What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. We have a little unplanned Saturday afternoon video. Little birdie told me, hey, you should check out CSG's website. It looks like their prices are a little bit cheaper. So, what's going on here? CSG appears to be having a 20% off sale just for the month of October. So all the previous fees, essentially what they were, $15 for bulk, $25 for economy, 20% less. They are already reflected on the submission page. So we are looking at $12 for bulk, $20 for economy, $28 for standard, so on and so forth. This is just the CSG side of things. So this is not affecting the CGC side of things for you TCG people out there and Marvel people out there. No 20% off for that. Just on the sports card side. Bulk rate, $12. That's as cheap as you are going to find it anywhere. Even their previous rate at 15 was cheaper than you could pretty much find it anywhere. And their turnaround times, from my own personal experience, I haven't done bulk with them, but I did do a standard order with them about a month or so ago, the Griffey Auto that I sent, and maybe it was a little longer than that. That got back to me within, I think, like 10 days, 15 days. I don't know if they'll be running a little bit slower behind because of the hurricane stuff. I know their offices are reopening on Monday for across the board comics, sports cards, non-sports cards. They will be back to normal operating procedure in just a couple of days. And for the month of October, anyways, a 20% discount. Now, we have seen this before, not from them, but BGS was recently running a 20% off sale. There was a coupon floating around that you could submit with them. And, you know, we've been talking about this for a while. The price war in grading companies is brewing. PSA recently announced their bulk pricing at $22 a card as an initial offering. I don't expect that number to hold. I expect that number to come down. BGS doing their little 20% sale thing. CSG doing a 20% sale thing. So we're seeing these companies play with pricing in an attempt to get cards in the door, generate business. And it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. All eyes have been on the other grading company in Florida, SGC, as people are wondering when they are going to come off the $30 grading fee. Now, we are a day away or so from getting gem rate data for the end of the month. It'll probably come out later today. For the monthly recap, I will be interested to see if the $22 PSA had any effect on the other companies moving throughout the month. It might be a little too soon to say in regards to the submissions. We might not see it until next month. We can look at the week to week and see if things dipped at all. Once again, SGC basically has no turnaround time. It was within a couple days. So we could tell their numbers very easily. A lot of people are clamoring for SGC to drop their price. And to this point anyways, they've held strong. A lot of people keep asking, hey, when are they going to drop? When are they going to lower prices? But I don't think, once again, we'll have a better idea once we see gem rate data. I don't know that their submission volume has been relatively stable. So from their perspective, if the demand for the services is there at a certain level and they're comfortable being at that level, at least for the time being, why would you switch off? And that's the one thing that's always the great unknown. We have the gem rate data. We can all sit here and speculate. We are not seeing the books. We don't know how profitable or unprofitable a company is at a certain rate at the amount of cards that they're getting. Just because a company dips 20% doesn't mean that they're still not turning a really good profit. Maybe they're not working their employees as many hours. Maybe before, to hit the previous numbers that they were getting, they had to crank out on overtime, and it wasn't necessarily the happiest place to be. And this is not just SGC specific. This is across the board. Those are the things that we don't know. So the numbers dip a little bit. The companies may or may not be fine with that. I still expect SGC to do something at some point in time. I don't expect PSA to stay at $22 a card. I expect that to dip down. And it will now be interesting to see how because this is going to affect October 1st, that's today. And this is going to be a 1 month special to see how much this 20% decrease bumps up the submission value. And it would be good information for CSG as well. They could see like, hey, we dropped it 20%. We gained X amount of volume and we ended up being more profitable because of it, or we had more work come through them, whatever the case might be. They'll have good hard data on how a 20% decrease affects things. Will this have an effect on SGC? Once again, Beckett price decrease or price special. PSA, $22 for bulk. CSG now doing a 20% off sale. SGC is still the lone guy in the room that hasn't done anything with price as of yet. Once again, we don't know the situation. Maybe they're perfectly comfortable with that. Maybe they're not. We'll find out. Will this put more downward pressure on them for that lower tier stuff? A lot of people use SGC for lower end stuff because of the $30 per card grading and you get it back super fast. But when you're talking about $12 grading or $20 grading with economy, now you're right in line on $20 economy. You're in line with what a bulk submission with SGC costs. I think most bulk submitters charge $23 a card, give or take. So even at the economy level on this, you're still a little bit cheaper than SGC. Now, CSG versus SGC in regards to sales, I have not looked at the data recently. I would need to dig into that. I did not have time to do that before recording this video. I just know from a personal anecdote, for modern stuff, I much prefer the CSG slab. That is no surprise, no shock. I've talked about it a ton. I really, really like the CSG/CGC slab, especially in comparison to SGC. I like SGC for vintage. I've never been a big fan of it for modern and ultra modern stuff. I love the way my Jim Brown's looking at SGC. I don't like the way Prism stuff looks or optic looks in SGC slabs typically. That's a personal preference on me. Comp wise, once again, like I said, I'd have to dig into it, do your homework on there to see what makes the most sense. And they basically use the identical grading scale, CSG and SGC. 10 is Gem Mint, then they both have a 9.5 grade, and then they both have a grade over 10. SGC has the gold, and CSG has the pristine, I think they call it. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. But that's where we sit right now. Prices wars brewing. And once again, I expect PSA to do the same thing. I think we sit at $22 a card for a hot minute. And then I think they start tweaking the dials. I think before we see an official, like, hey, let's go to $18 a card, I think what they're going to do is maybe run some either lottery specials where it's like X amount of people get in at a certain price point, or if you're working on X set in the set registry, you could send in a lower submission tier pricing wise. I think that's what we're going to see next from PSA. I could be wrong, but I think through the end of the year, we kind of see them playing with the dials on certain cards at a certain price point. You could come on in to kind of go after more of that old school collector base, the set registry people, to go after that. I think we see that creep in before we see them move off the $22 bulk. I could be wrong. If they don't get as many cards as they thought, that could change. I know, just as a little update, my $18 national order is on its way back to me. Grades popped yesterday. It shipped out yesterday. I should have it on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. That was a 35 card, $18 per bulk order that I shipped in the week of the national. It was checked into the system the week after the national. So we kind of all knew that this was coming. Pricing wars are here. We've been speculating about this for a while. As the card market continues to shift down, there are only so many cards out there per month that could be graded. All these companies ramped up capacity. Now the fight begins for our cards. PSA's backlog is essentially clear. Beckett has moved into their new offices. They're essentially fully back up and running again. I think their monthly numbers are going to jump up a little bit from the previous month. SGC's been doing their thing. CSG has been doing their thing. Now we're seeing a little price decrease from them, at least temporarily. We'll see if it sticks or not permanently. Remember, they recently did a price increase about 6 months ago or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, because before they were at 10 and I think went to 15. But they're still, even with the price increase, one of the cheaper graders out there. So that's all I have for you guys and girls today. Just a quick little out of the blue. Like I said, wasn't expecting to record a video today. Was going to take today off. but got wind of this and figured it was worth getting a video out there to cover it. I believe there will be more details on this special coming out on Monday directly from CSG. So look forward to that on all their social pages and whatnot. Everyone have a good rest of your Saturday. Have a good weekend, and we will catch you tomorrow on the weekly update. Peace.